Hello ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Wind and Thunder Gaming. This is my week 6 COGs post-analysis. And I helped, of course, stream for Occasionally Effective this week. Trying to help out, give Cordy some time off. XSplit did its best to screw with me. And this is match 1. It was Muse versus Black Flight Squadron, which is a Bully Boys team. Now, before we jump into it, I wanted to discuss these names. We have the Kusanagi, and we have the Shinryaku, which, while commentating, aren't that fun to do play-by-play with, because they get more and more difficult to pronounce the faster you're talking. So, I did some research to find out what these two names are. We're going to start with Kusanagi here. We got this wiki page here. And, you know, we got a standard Japanese name. It's, however you want to pronounce this right here. Kusanagi no Tsurugi. I'm butchering this and I know it. But, it's a sword. It's an ancient Japanese sword. That's part of the imperial regalia of Japan. And apparently no one's ever seen this thing. It's a very dark and mysterious part of Japanese history. Very interesting. And then his teammate, the Shinryaku. I'm like, okay, so it's following up after the Kusanagi. What could this possibly be? Squid Girl. Squid Girl. It's about an anime called Squid Girl. Shinryaku Ika Muzumi. Big difference in the naming schema, as it were, jumping from ancient worshipped weapon of the gods to anime about Squid Girl. So I thought that was humorous. Really shocked me. Especially since it is a comedy slice of life and not anything else. Whatever the hell shonen is. Alright, so going back to the game now. We have, keep switching to scene 5 instead of scene 6, there we go. We have BFS versus Muse. Muse taking a sniping galleon and a pyramidion, hoping to jump on board with the paddling meta. But I find it interesting that they chose the beta to do this, which is probably the most ineffectual patch you could have used it in. Choosing now to use that kind of build was very lackluster choice, let's say. So we have the Shinryaku and the Kusanagi. We have an Artemis Gatflak Junker, and we have a squid with carronades, and I think a harpoon on the back. The Bully Boys really highlighted the capabilities of the squid and COGs as an anti-galleon weapon. But although it was used against Muse, so I don't know how effective it was. But as soon as the game starts, Shinryaku rushes out, and about a minute 14 into the game, they're already on top of Muse. Look at that. Minute 14 or something, I think is what we timed it down to. He's already on top of Howard the Duck and killing his balloon. Did not even get spotted. He's on top of him, and he's still not spotted. That's how quick he was getting over here. He rode cloud cover because they spawned here. I'm using the map. He spawned here, and he just rode cloud cover and then kind of hooked around to where they were waiting. And before the Pyramidion could react in a defensive stance to allow Howard to get his watcher broadsides on the squid, it was too late. Shinryaku was already on top of Howard the Duck. Kusanagi took an extraordinarily long time getting in here, putting across the map. But Shinryaku seems to be handling it fine. Tell Your Mom I Said still kind of a delayed reaction, I guess you could say. Finally getting that Merc cannon. I think they have Merc cannons on the front of that prim. It's the non-constant spray of Gatling fire. But Gilder or Glider, or I don't know, it seems to change every time I read it. Whoever was piloting the Shinryaku said he didn't really like the squid because it felt less maneuverable than in 1.1.5 as opposed to this patch, which it was played in 1.2. The Shinryaku. Okay, well, he said the squid felt more weighty, but in my mind, these ships are supposed to feel weighty. You know, like you're flying a bloody ship in the sky attached to a balloon propelled by engines. It's not going to feel as maneuverable as you want it to, especially in the galleon. I remember piloting one of those against the ducks on Labyrinth, and it was very, very hard to try and maneuver around inside that cityscape with all the scrap, especially the size, and you have to manage your spatial awareness. But finally, the Kusanagi comes in here and starts putting down the Gat flak. He's receiving fire from the galleon, so the Shin Ryaku goes to delay the galleon. Now, I don't have timestamps, so forgive me if I accidentally rewind here. That's true. Howard did indeed steal his own name from Hazumi, calling his ship Howard the Duck. I think he was mocking the paddling sniping builds, which they found out fairly swiftly that they could not use properly, because they either did not have the time to prepare or were not preparing for a squid to just jump across the map and be right on top of him with a squid. Drogue shoot keeps Howard the Duck alive a really long time here. A very, very long time. They really fixed physics, as I pointed out in the stream, so that like you're not just bouncing aggressively against the water, killing yourself in 2 seconds. Admittedly, Howard is popping drogue here, so that's helping, but it's not as clinky and elasticy as it used to be. And spastic, I guess, would be a good descriptor. I believe the Kusanagi was just launching Artemis shots at the Tell Your Mom I Said, trying to disable his guns. A very, very nice harassment composition from BFS. The Artemis disabling weapons and carronades blowing the shit out of the galleon's balloons, as it were. Now, eventually, Howard the Duck's gonna go down, and he's gonna spawn behind the arc. Let's use our map for fun times. He's gonna spawn right here, and he's just gonna sit there, because he wants to try and shoot this way, because the Tell Your Mom I Said spawned somewhere around here. So he wants to shoot in this direction, while the BFS is coming in from this direction, and he just wants the Pyramidion to stay over here so he has nice shots. But there were clouds in the way here, so his gunners were having trouble, and he wasn't really preparing shots as good as he could have been if he was a little bit closer to the fight, even if he was just on the other side of this arc here, like if he positioned himself somewhere around here. Yeah, eventually the Tell Your Mom I Said goes down. You can tell he's kind of given up at this point. Shinryaku has... No, he had a Gat on the side. I remember this. He had a Gat on the side, not 2 carronades. He had a Gat and a carronade on the front. So he really, really helped strip armor down. I remember this now, because he always did the tar pass, get the Gat on him, and try and help the flat Gat add a bit of damage on there. Beautiful, beautiful composition from BFS. Now I'm going to fiddle around with the times and hope I don't skip somewhere. Okay, that's backwards. Okay, that was really far backwards. Okay, now, alright. I believe Evias just popped in the Tell Your Mom I Said. And he started to pull out, but then he just pulled back. And then we have, as I was talking about earlier, Howard the Duck trying to set up this long-range shot from here outward this way. And they kind of want the engagement to occur in that general area so that Howard can put down fire. However, his gunners weren't up to the task of shooting through clouds. Damn it. Alright. See? So, here we got Howard hiding behind this rock here. Not really doing a whole lot. Tell your mom I said getting in that engagement. After he popped again on that side of the map back there. Kusanagi trying to put it down. Shinryaku, I believe, is trying to find Howard the Duck because I don't believe he's been spotted yet. Howard the Duck trying desperately to try and give any assistance he can to Kivayas. Right now, they're trying to retreat this side of the pillar. And Howard the Duck is going to meet him this way. I feel like if Muse tried some of their previous builds, it might have worked out better. Because they're not used to the sniping, paddling build. And they really buffed the Spire, so I wouldn't have blamed Howard for taking a Spire in this situation. Especially against the Squid, it would have helped if he had that, horizontal maneuverability that the Spire has. To try and keep up with the Squid maneuvering all around it. And if they did try and get the Squid on top of them as quickly as they did, and he had a Spire, they would have killed the Squid before the Junker could even arrive to the fight. Because they did engage in Muse's spawn, as opposed to meeting somewhere in the middle for a battle. Shinryaku harassing Howard the Duck, Kusanagi laying down all that fire on Tell Your Mom I Said. Again, a lot of this situational awareness, or lack thereof, from Muse really led to their downfall. Howard's just ricocheting and is eventually going to die here. But yeah, the lack of situational awareness and letting this Squid get on top of them in the beginning, it really led to some random spawns and some bad decisions. Mainly staying behind the arc and trying to get that fire off did not work. Kusanagi and Shinryaku just teamed up on Tell Your Mom I Said, and that was it for him. So Howard the Duck having a fun time popping Drogue. Drifting into every scrap they could have possibly hit. The boat into the arc. Very, very rough. That's my dog, if you heard that. But yeah, I'm going to switch my overlays. Swift victory, nice victory from BFS. We will see Muse again. They did not get kicked out of the tournament for their game because Corvus ended up resigning from the COGs. That's all we'll say about that. Yeah, I'm going to switch my overlays and I'll be right back. Hello and welcome to part 2. I'm re-recording this because it went a bit long last time. Ended up doing the second segment and it ended up being 20 minutes, which is way too long. So I made some timestamps because cutting to this, if you'll see at the bottom here, it's not telling me where I am in the video. It's kind of annoying, but I worked around it. Got some important timestamps. So 6:50, which is where we are now. Game starts. The Ducks rush to the point. And at about 8, they managed to sit on it. So they're at the point, they're starting to take it. Gentlemen are rushing in here. Now here we get to see the paddling fumble a bit. The game started to polarize towards the latter half. Paddling had a rough start. Gentlemen had an awesome beginning. And it polarized and switched. And then the Gentlemen had a rough latter half, culminating at around 19 minutes is when they started tilting. which is about 5 minutes before the game ends. Uh, we'll highlight that in a while. We have this opening engagement. You'll see the Prince Ali focus the spire. Dirty Duck not even acknowledging Prince Ali's existence, and I don't think that's the best idea. They kind of want to try and get this carronade out of the air as soon as they can, because it takes the sitting duck out of the fight by ruining his arc by plummeting him to the ground. So the lower the sitting duck gets because of the carronade, the harder it is for the watcher to get a proper angle. We'll be talking about gun angles after this. Jace Booyah wrote up horizontal weapon angles for me. Very handy. So the paddling gets cleaned out here, and at 9:40 Squash gets a nice point block, and then at 10:30 right after that Smollett gets another point block. I don't think we're gonna pay too much attention to that. See, we got the Dirty Duck. They're just, at this point in the beginning, they're just trying to prevent the gentleman from getting it. But what happens here is Smollett ends up backing Prince Ali into the globe. And then by the time the sitting duck comes up behind him, the Prince Ali is too far into this globe that he can't get turned around. So even though he goes down, the sitting duck takes out Prince Ali fairly quickly. Because, look, he can't hydrogen because he'll just ricochet off that. His tail end bounces, and then sitting duck takes full advantage of that, kills him, and turns around on the gentleman's pride. I'm trying to look at my timestamps here. At 12:14, I think the gentleman's pride goes down here. Yeah, gentleman's pride went down. Right here, Prince Ali gets velcroed onto the thing. See if I get a better view. Right there. He is velcroed onto that. That is why he's not moving here. Prince Ali had a very bad go of the terrain this game, I have to say. There are at least 3 instances. The one in the globe where he bounces off there. He gets velcroed to the terrain here. This poor son of a bitch is having a bad go of it. See, he's not moving at all. The train's just got him locked. A bit of a physics issue, but I'd rather you get velcroed to the terrain rather than getting ricocheted and thrown in every which spastic direction that it used to. So at 13:30, following right after Prince Ali's death, Sitting Duck and the Dirty Duck end up getting the first point cap of the game, which then gets cleaned out by the gentleman, as you'll witness here. And then they end up getting a neutralization. Yes, 14:32, which is I believe where we are. But yeah, okay, so the gents end up cleaning these guys out and getting a point neutralization just before Squash managed to. Squash was going to try and get a point lock so they couldn't neutralize the point, but he didn't manage to make it in time, and he gets focused down as a result. Doormaster, just prior, you could have seen his awesome right here. We're just going to watch here, because Doormaster played off his ass. Easily the BAMF of the week. If you are a duck, specifically in the paddling watching this, tell him I said that. He is a badass. God among engineers. Sunderland levels of badassery going on. Look at this. Look at that excellent engineering. And they're still alive. They end up going down here, but God, Doormaster did a good job of keeping them up. Good job to the NG crew. I don't know whether he had assistance or not, but I'm just going to operate under the assumption that it was Doormaster by his badass self. So 15:32, we get to highlight the awesome part of the physics. No, that's not 15:32. Let's just go to 15:20. We have Dirty Duck absolutely heat-seeking, missiling Prince Ali. Look at this round. This is just going to show off the physics engine. Boom! Goes flying. You could tell he had his engines in neutral because he just went soaring backwards. Dirty Duck even getting a bit overzealous and hitting the building himself. After that sick ram, he goes down himself because the Gentleman's Pride just throws down some flak damage. But yes, very badass ram. Okay, apparently I'm skipping to 17 according to my notes. There's a big engagement going on. They end up getting this Carronade out of the air as soon as possible so that the Spire can stay out of the fight. Then the Dirty Duck turns onto the Gentleman's Pride and ends up getting focus damaged down. I'm not sure if the Dirty Duck goes down here or not. But as a result of this, the paddling will end up taking this point. And it's around this point in time when the Gentlemen are really feeling the grip tighten around them, which brings us to 19. You can see they're kind of coming in one by one, just getting focused down. He managed to focus down the sitting duck, I think, but he can't put down the damage to brawl with Smollett. And this is really the turning point of the game where the Gentlemen stopped being competitive, as it were. No real strategies that they tried ended up working out. They tried coming in one by one. They tried coming in two at a time, but Prince Ali ended up getting focused down, and then his teammate was in a 1v2. See, another meat grindy scenario here. There's no point in doing this. I would have waited for Ali to go down and then helped charge in after that. I think would have been the better choice. Grouping up is definitely a better idea if you're trying to push the point. If you're just trying to get point locks, then by all means just go in one at a time and try and get the point locked down so that they can't cap it, or they can't neutralize it if it's under your possession. 23 minutes, we get another bad bounce by Prince Ali. You can see he's kerosining in, and then just this building appears out of nowhere. Boom! Again, Prince Ali was fighting with the terrain this entire game. Dirty Duck and the Sitting Duck focused him down immediately. No room for errors for Prince Ali. Every time he bounces off something, gets velcroed to something, paddling exploits it and jumps on the opportunity. Very, very rough cutthroat situations for the Gentlemen. But I was glad that they tried at least to group up there. Gentleman's Pride getting focused down. And this really signals the end of the game. About 60 points away from cap, or winning rather, the 600 cap. So at this point, look at Thormaster's freaking engineering. Like, you can't even see his health. Godly. At this point, it becomes a death match. Let me kill Smollett. I want to kill Smollett. For the love of Jesus, can I just kill Smollett? Gentlemen kind of gave up towards the end here, and I don't blame them. They didn't really have a chance at this point. By the time they got here, they would have half neutralized the point if they won the engagement, and then lost anyway. So at this point, it just became a pride thing for killing Smollett. Prince Ali rushing in here. Just let me kill Smollett. Just let me kill Smollett. He's just like, I think I can, I think I can, I think I can, I think I can. But the Dirty Duck is engineered by Jesus himself, so they did not manage to kill him. Rough break for the Gentlemen, not even getting that small esoteric victory. My God, that was stressful, says Morblitz, and I can only imagine competing for that championship COG. Rex Hamilton's Canadian, shout out to him. Our Banff of the week goes to Doormaster, who kept Smollett's ass alive. Beautiful showing from him and the rest of his engineering crew. I'm going to give you the state of the COGs up next. So I'm going to fix my overlays and I'll see you in a bit. So these are the COGs as they stand. This is week 7. You might be wondering why Muse is still in here. Here, let me see, make that bigger. We have Muse here. You might be wondering, hey, why are they still in? Didn't they get booted from the 3E spot? Well, what happened? Let's go to week 6 here. Muse went up against BFS, lost. Corvus didn't want to play. They thought that the COGs weren't for them, so they ended up quitting. Make that bigger for you again. So they ended up quitting and suffering a loss, so they dropped down a spot. Muse took Corvus's spot. They're currently in the 3B spot, and BFS got rotated, and Pafa is down here. That's how you end up with this Week 7 layout. Pafa versus the Whalers is a hard game to call because I don't know how experienced the Whalers are. Pafa is a mid-ranged experienced team. I'd say from their previous showings. So it'll be interesting. This is a good entry level COGs match, I think. So I'm probably gonna call it for Pafa just because I've seen them more. I don't really know a lot about the Whalers besides I saying girls just want to have fun for the leader of that team. Polaris versus BFS. I've heard a lot about BFS, a lot of good things. I'd say they're about evenly matched. I think we could end up seeing dual Spires from Polaris again. And if we do, I think they could actually manage it this time. They could go a glass cannon with the extra DPS from the triumvirate of guns from the Spire. That's definitely a possibility. They're trying to make up for their squishiness with a lot of DPS. Bring down targets before they get a chance to take them down. So this will be a close game, probably a 5-4 in Polaris. Mary Northern Storm versus Paddling. If anyone's going to dethrone the Paddling, I think it'd be Mary. And Zill's 3,000 plus games or whatever ungodly amount he's at now. It's probably a 5-4 for Mary, I think. Just because of the new patch, I think they might have something up their sleeves. Paddling might still be trying to adjust, trying to find their new niche build, trying to find the next sniper build. So I'm going to call it for Mary, 5-4, very close. This is going to be another close one, 5-4. And depending on how good the Whalers are, that could go any which way. So yeah, that's it. I'm going to pull up some statistics and for gun angles that Jace Booyah drew up, and I'll be right back. So these are the gun angles. Approximately, there might be a little bit deviation. But these were all done using a compass from Jace Booyah. Is a badass and ended up doing this. This is why he gets this named after him. The Jace twin arc on the goldfish, because when he showed that to me, it blew my fucking mind. You can now get a dual arc with a goldfish, with either a watch or a flat cannon. As you can see here, you need 90 with a side gun to get a twin arc. So if you have an Artemis, which is 60, and a Hwacha or heavy flak, which is 30, equals 90, so you can in fact get a dual arc on the goldfish. And that's how the statistics work for all of these. Except the Spire, which is 45. Must add up to more than 45 with both front-facing guns for a trifecta. So you can use a Gat, Artemis, and then a Hwacha, or any combination. And provided these numbers work with the math, then you can get a trifecta. Junker, front must equal over 90 with both side guns separately. So an Artemis is a good front because 64 with either a Gatling gun, which is 51. Works with the Gatling gun, it works with the light flak. So that works great. So here's this math, I'll throw it up in the description in case you're curious. All credit goes to Jace Booyah for spending hours upon hours trying to get these numbers for us. This is the horizontal degree of motion for left or right. So total degree of motion would be double all of these. So yeah, that's it. See you in week 7. I will be hosting and for QWERTY again. And if XSplit tries to pull its shit, you can expect me to be fast on its ass fixing that stuff. So way less technical difficulty time, way more time spent enjoying the 3 games that we have lined up for us. So goodbye, peace, stay safe.